Hi guys, happy Monday. Yeah, happy Monday. Holy shootings. That's sad. It's very sad. So, let's continue with Modern Magick, 2nd edition, 11 Lessons in the High Magical Arts by Donald Michael Craig. So we continue with this. That's just crazy. That's sad. It's very sad. And the president is blaming it on people with mental illness. Thanks for painting a great picture of all of us, lumping us in all together. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say. I do, but I don't want to get in trouble. So, anyways. Alright, so lesson 10. Wow, we are on lesson 10 already? Oh my god, it's going so fast. Or I'm going really slow, I don't know. Could be either. So, alright, a little bit more on magic. So this is good stuff right here. Now, alright, now magic is not something you do, magic is something that you are. Alright, so he says, I have said this over and over to students, and I have tried to make it clear in these lessons. True magicians realize that since they can work magic and affect their lives, they are really free to do anything they wish. Well, to an extent. So, true magicians also realize that they are responsible for their actions. Thus, freedom and responsibility are signs of a magical lifestyle. This attitude is also the basis for a magician's view of sex. So, as stated earlier, it would go into a little bit more sex magic. So, alright, now, as a magician, he says, I believe that everybody is entitled to have sex any way he or she desires, as long as it does not involve coercion of anyone else. So, if you are straight, gay, celibate, or promiscuous, if you are into B&D, S&M, or just about anything else, that's fine with me, so long as you do not coerce someone into something that they do not wish to do. So yeah, obviously, don't ever do that to anybody. And if anybody ever tries that with anybody, say no. And I don't kick them in the balls and run. So yeah, call the police. So yes. Alright. Where did I go? Where did I go, you guys? Shoot. Okay, so yeah, freedom, responsibility, and honesty should be a magician's guide. For that matter, these ideas should guide any person's actions. So, just be considerate. Alright, now unfortunately various organizations of dubious worth, oh I love that word, dubious worth, coerce people into various sexual situations. One organization, he says, I am familiar with, has the leader determine sexual partners. No, this includes having to be in an adjacent room, right? Adjacent room. Is that the word? While your mate has intercourse with another person. This allows you to hear every sound. No, that's a big no. That's a hard no. So, another organization, he says, I know, preaches strict celibacy. Married members are only allowed to have sex once a month, and then only for the purpose of procreation. Wow. Coitus. However, I know that many members of this organization do not follow this rule. So, in fact, one of the vice presidents of this organization, a man who teaches celibacy, had a torrid affair with a woman. He says, I know. The organization is aware of his extracurricular activities and moves him from so-called temple to temple, but does not expel him. He should have been expelled. Simple as that. Simple as that. So there's some really good pointers, especially for what is going on right now, especially with all the, the sex trafficking and all of these, pedophiles that are on trial right now that, should not, this is, what did I see? One got drowned in a toilet for raping somebody. I think that's ridiculous. I think that they need to suffer. suffer it out. They need to live and suffer it out. Death is too good of a justification for those kind of people. So that's sick. Alright, so another organization's leader told several members to get divorces, which they did. So this leader also encourages romantic affairs, but is against marriage. This leader's actions have ruined several families. Why do these organizations and their leaders try to control people's sex lives? It's ridiculous. The most personal and private thing which we can possess is our sexuality. It is impossible to get physically closer to another person than during sexual relations. Coitus. Let's get really technical and call it coitus. Therefore, coitus is totally involved in our psyches. So it controls a person's coitus life, and you can control the person's psyche. You control the person. Control of a person's sex life is a method of brainwashing. Catholic Church, regular church, probably Scientology. I always attack Scientology with the utmost. Yes, I'd love to. Anyways, perhaps you remember Hattie Hearst. Yeah, she was kidnapped by a group with whose philosophies she did not agree. She later became a member of the group. One of the means used to accomplish this was the control of her sex life. She was forced to have sexual intercourse with several people, including having group sex. It's disgusting. This was one of the ways her will was broken down until she lost her own ideals and adopted those of her captors. This is not an attempt to philosophically side with Miss Hearst or her captors. It is only to show how one method of brainwashing is done. It's terrible. That's very terrible, and I'm I'm iffy on even reading this subject. But this is, fair warning. If anybody ever wants you to do anything, say no. No. Call somebody, call the police if you're in danger. If you feel in danger, call the police. I don't care if you're sitting in a park with 3,000 people around you. If you feel like you're in danger, you call the police. That is what you do. Alright, so for your own good, for your own safety, I don't want to see anybody get caught up into any of this. Alright, so in the case of the first group I mentioned earlier, he says, controlling the sex life of the members allows the control of the members' minds. Thus, although the organization is supposed to teach each member how to be unique, independent individual, everyone tends to freely accept the commands of the leader. Also, the members give large amounts of money to the organization, much of which goes to the leader, which sounds like the Catholic Church. So, concerning the second group, its current leaders apparently have an incredible thirst for power in terms of control over people and control of money. The Catholic Church again. Thus, the leaders ignore their own spirituality, quote, quote, and attempt to enforce a lifestyle which they do not follow. Still, the members feel guilty if they cannot fulfill the required celibacy and work harder to raise funds for the organization. This is making me sick. It quickly becomes easy to believe the truths of the leaders who proceed to teach the members how to lie and steal. In fact, this group was recently convicted in court of wrongful death, libel, and kidnapping. A spiritual organization indeed. Heavy sarcasm on that. So, the third organization is totally enthralled to its leader. The leader dresses up in bizarre clothes with built-in light bulbs and makes videotapes of the group's theories. Tapes which are so bad that they are unintentionally hilarious. I don't find it hilarious, unintentionally or intentionally, yet, like controlled robots, none of the leader's followers seem to care or realize how foolish they look. The more people laugh at them when they dress up in clothes that are half Renaissance, half science fiction, the more they become dedicated to the leader who controls their lives. So, what do you guys think so far? Big no-no. So he says, the reason I am giving you these prefatory notes is to point out that these organizations which attempt to control your sex life as a means of controlling your will on a lower level, there are groups which use a guise of spirituality or learning in order to obtain people for sexual exploitation. These types of groups exist in all fields of End of War, including the study of magic. Some magical groups are nothing more than a cover for one of two things: gaining sexual partners and gaining power over others. That's why I am solitary. That's why I will not join a group, ever. And if you guys ever feel in danger in a group, leave. Call the police, leave. I don't care if you have a wand, beat them with the wand. Just get out and stay safe. Especially what's going on today. I don't even know how to title this video now without it being flagged for being inappropriate. It's going to be deemed inappropriate when it's shedding light on how not to fall into that trap. Just like Jen and Sylvia said, a lot of us are being censored on being activists for these people that get into this, and, you know, whistleblowers, which are people that call everybody else out on this, which I am very, very grateful for. Yeah, everybody's being censored for it, so I don't know how this is going to go. Alright. Okay, so it is needed. It is indeed a shame that some people feel so weak and helpless that in order to overcome these feelings, they must seek to have power over and control other people. Narcissism, masochism, hedonism. It's also a shame that some people need spiritual facades in order to gain sexual partners. That's ridiculous. It makes me sick. If you are working with a group of people and it seems obvious to you that sex is going to become a part of the group's activities, stop. There we go. I really, really wish my cassette tape worked so I could hear how he says stop. So ask yourself if you really want to do this with these people. If these are not people that you wish to become sexually involved with, get out before they possibly can take control of your life and your will. And please do not think that you are immune to brainwashing or too smart for it. Nobody is. I'm not even prone. I'm not, immune to it. So, many cults get a large percentage of their recruits from college campuses. Be careful, college people. I have seen very bright and intelligent people go and investigate cults only to be trapped in cultic doublethink and end up as pawns of a ruthless leader. Oh, that just makes me sick. It's because the control of a person's sex life can be used to get control over that person's life in general. That I am taking too much time discussing brainwashing and cults. So for the true sign of a magician is freedom of thought and freedom of will. You will never be a magician if you are under some cult's mind control. Think about that. So, further, brainwashing may not be what you think. You do not have to be tortured or betrayed day after day, although it is one method. Most groups today use gradual processes, which induces you to ignore logic and accept the group's doublespeak. In the bibliography which comes with this lesson, I am listing a few books which describe the signs of cults and brainwashing techniques, their brainwashing techniques. So I urge you to study them before joining any group which uses sexuality as a part of its teachings. So, alright, so that being said, let's go on to part 1. So yeah, just if you feel uncomfortable, unsafe, leave, stop, get out. Call the police. Do what you have to do. So, part 1. Alright, there are several different aspects to sexual magic, and it is difficult to divide them into categories, as they often overlap a great deal. So even so, it is necessary to make loose categories in order to discuss the subject. So do understand that these divisions are just for communication's sake, and other writers may not follow them. So this is just for informative purposes only. So, he says, I divide the types of magic which use the sexual energies as a fundamental source into 3 groups. Group 1, thought control. This is a method of controlling sexual energy via the mind during sexual excitation and orgasm. This may not sound difficult, but it actually requires you to concentrate on something while you are in a state of consciousness where directed thinking is very difficult. So, this will be later explained, including how to overcome the problem. 2, inner alchemy. Now this is a type of white magic which could be called white sect magic. It is important it is an important part of Taoist alchemy, also called Taoist yoga and Tantric yoga. Some purists may be upset. He says that I am introducing Oriental elements into this course. However, as I have said, I am very eclectic. Since the writings of Helena, I don't know how to say her last name, Blavatsky, Oriental mysticism has been incorporated into Western mystical philosophy and practice. Even the Golden Dawn took much from the East. This includes both ideas of karma and of the Tadvic tides, a system which can help in understanding and working with magical elements. Okay. Also, it is unfortunately true that, with the denunciation of sex for anything but procreation as taught by the Christian Church for over 1,500 years, much of Western sex magic had to be deeply hidden. This was not the situation in the East, and thus there is much more material, even if it is, in many instances, heavily disguised. So, number 3, outer alchemy. This is more along the lines of gray magic. So remember, always do a divination before your gray magic. Alright, it uses sexual fluids which have not been magically charged to the end of achieving a chosen goal. Note that this uses tangible elements as opposed to the sexual forces which are the basis of inner alchemy. Outer alchemy is frequently associated with Western Hermetic alchemy, as much Western alchemical literature, once you know the code, is simply disguised instructions in sex magic. So, it is very true. So, alright, now, none of these 3 systems is easy to learn or master. So, further, only 100 years ago the techniques were deep secrets and spoken of in hushed whispers. But we are in a new era, with the knowledge which may now be shared, along with sincere, dedicated practice. Anyone may become proficient at any of the techniques of sex magic. So, many magicians believe that sex magic entirely traces its heritage back to the tantrics of India and Tibet. While much of sex magic does come from those sources, there are aspects of sex magic which are from traditional Western sources. So, even if you do have similarities with Eastern practices, an example of this is that sex and sex magic is part of the Kabbalah. Wow, okay, yeah, whatever. Even Stoddy, A.E. Waite, with a blushing face, no doubt, admits in the Holy Kabbalah that the supreme wisdom of the Kabbalah is a mystery of sex. So he also reports that the Zohar makes clear that the best time for a man and a woman to have intercourse is on the holiest of days of the week, the Sabbath. It is also stated that if a man travels away from his wife for a time in order to study the Kabbalah, on his return home, his first duty and obligation is to make love to his wife. So this is all within the context of wives, marriages, wives, relationships, partnerships, all that good stuff. I'm very blurry. There we go. So yeah. Alright. Where'd I go? Oh, of course there is a difference between sex magic. Between sex and sex magic. So, but by understanding the sides of the tree of life are masculine and feminine, and even the tetragrammaton is composed of masculine and feminine letters, one can see this inherent sexuality of the Kabbalah. But let's get practical. There is a Hebrew book called, which translates as the Holy Letter. This book dates from around the end of the 13th century, and on the surface is a type of medieval Jewish marriage manual. So today's marriage manuals are nothing more than sex books, giving various positions for sexual intercourse and other sexual activity. In ancient China, these are known as pillow books. Ooh. Yeah, I guess mine would be called the pillow book. But marriage manuals were not always such. Many hardly even mention sex, limiting discussions to philosophy and simply psychology. This was primarily due to the cultures wherein these books were written, and to the censorship rules of that society. So, Judaism and Kabbalists did not cringe from sexuality. as did many cultures. One of the holy books of the Jews, usually called the Song of Solomon, on the surface is nothing more than an erotic love poem. Yet Rabbi Akiba, a famous mystic, one of the disciples, Simon ben Yoachi, is said to have written the Zohar. Said of this work, the whole universe is not worth the day that book, the Song of Solomon, has been given to Israel. Further, he said, all the scriptures are holy, but the Song of Songs, actual name of the Song of Solomon, is the most holy. Certainly there is more to sex of the song. Certainly there is more to the sex of the Song of Songs than mere eroticism. It's funny because me and my Virgo queen were speaking about the Song of Solomon the other night. So the Holy Letter discusses sexuality in all of its aspects. This includes mystical and magical aspects of sex. Thus we read, when a man unites with his wife in holiness, the energy is between them. The mystery of man and woman, since the Shensha, so is equivalent to the idea of God's Holy Spirit or the Tantric Shakti. Note the similarity in the sounds of the words. We can see that the author of this book is talking about something special. Indeed, the author is discussing what is commonly called Kundalini Yoga. More accurately, Laya Yoga. This will be discussed when I talk about inner alchemy. So, the Holy Letter also mentions that the aspect of sex magic, which I term thought control, this type of sex magic may be the most palatable for people from Western cultures. The Holy Letter states, according to thoughts, the thoughts you have in intercourse, so will the form come upon the seed. Superficially, this means that if you are thinking spiritual thoughts when having intercourse, you will have a spiritual child. If a happy thought's a happy child, etc. As we all know, however, every act of sexual intercourse does not result in the birth of a child, or does it? Good. Certainly, I could not deny that the number of times sexual intercourse leads to the birth of an infant human is small compared to the number of times sexual intercourse is performed. But think back to my comments on creative visualization. Remember that you are constantly going through the visualization process, whether you like the fact or not. Likewise, every time you have sexual intercourse, you give birth to a magical child. Even if no human child is the result. Or, to put it another way, the key behind the idea of the thought control form of sex magic is that the thought held at the instant of orgasm comes to pass. Unfortunately, this is not as easy as it might sound, so to understand this, why this is so, we must look at theories of Dr. Wilhelm Reich. Oh, the one that discovered orgone. I love it. Dr. Reich. Reich. Still so blurry. Maybe it's my eyes. Okay, so where did we go? I lost my spot. Oh, here we go. Okay. Many professionals in the field of psychology dismiss Reich. They claim that one of his basic theories that people who are psychologically disturbed could not have an orgasm is false. Well, obviously, it is clear that many people with pathological problems are capable of having an orgasm, such as in the instance of a violent rape. So, and since this is a basis of many of Reich's theories, they must all be wrong. Well, it's obvious to me that none of these experts on Reich have even bothered to read any of his work. For Reich never said that people with psychological problems could not have an orgasm. Reich knew that such a person could have an orgasm, so he must have been aware of the most important psychological text, Psychopathia Sexualis by Krafft Ebing. That book had been the physician's resource on sociopathic sexuality for many years. What Reich said was that a person who was psychologically disturbed was not orgasmically potent. So we have that. Alright, so Reich believed that during sexual excitation, an energy which he called orgone built up in the body. For full mental health, this energy needed to be discharged during orgasm. So you could compare this to blowing up a balloon. As the sexual excitation increases, more air is blown into the balloon, and if you lose control over your consciousness, the air will slowly discharge through the valve on the balloon. If, on the other hand, you do not lose control, the balloon increases in size and pressure until it pops. That's the basis of orgone. That is why we have orgone. So, I think that's pretty interesting to note. It's very noteworthy. Alright, so, where'd I go? Okay, so similarly, the natural and healthy in and outflow of orgone energy does not occur, according to Reich, in a person with psychological disturbance. This type of person would have a greater or lesser emotional, psychological, and or physical control of him or herself at the moment of orgasm. So this controlled behavior, according to Reich, is not healthy. To be a healthy person needs to be orgasmically potent. This means that during the convulsions of the orgasmic experience, a person should be thinking, am I doing this right? Is my partner enjoying this? Rather, a person should be so caught up in the animalistic enjoyment of sex that nothing can be thought of. There should be only pure, thought-free experience. So yeah, that just totally, I love orgone. So, alright. So, does this idea of thought-free experience sound familiar to you? It should, because going into such a state is exactly what true meditation is. So, you guys, everybody on here at one point in time has experienced true meditation. Whether you remember or not, you have. And it can be really good. Alright. So Reich believed that being orgasmically potent, being able to achieve the thought-free, sense-oriented state described above, which is like an etheric state of being. You feel nothing. You feel bliss, peace, but you have no form, and you see nothing, but you just feel just amazing. So, was the only way to release orgone energy. If this was not done, the human balloon would pop from overinflation of orgone energy. So this popping would be in the form of psychological problems. While it is true that this is one way to release the orgone energy, I must disagree with it being the only way. So yeah, that's very true too. That's not the only way you can get orgone energy. Look at what we have all created. We have all, so many YouTubers, orgone, the orgone pyramids I've made, the pendants, all of it, every bit of it. So, alright, so tantrics have methods of controlling this energy at will. This will be covered in this section of Inner Alchemy. So, further, it is not true that a person experiencing an orgasm, which is orgasmically potent, is without thought. In fact, such a person is only with conscious thought. The acts of sexual intercourse or other sexual activity wherein a person is brought to orgasm is so primal that it takes us to a period before rational consciousness ruled ourselves. So, thus, it is our unconscious which holds sway over us at the moment we experience the orgasmically potent orgasm. So, he goes on to say, as I said before, the unconscious is our link to the astral plane, also called the esteretic plane, world. When you create something in the astral plane as a result of your thinking procedures, it must come into existence on the physical plane. So, whatever thought is on our mind at the point of orgasm goes directly into the subconscious and into the astral plane. It must manifest. That is why the thought held in mind at the instant of orgasm must come into existence. But that is also the difficulty. To open up the subconscious, we must be orgasmically potent. This means we must temporarily lose our sense of self, our ego. Unfortunately, that aspect of our being is locked up with our logical, reasoning self. If we lose that, how can we keep an idea in our mind when having an orgasm? It can be no pun intended, messy. So, very simple way to have Orgone energy right there. Boom. Orgone. It's already created, being generated. I have Orgone everywhere. Still, my god. Alright, where'd it go? Okay, so luckily there is a way. So the subconscious does not think in words. Like, we all know it's symbols and images. So you see the word tree, but the subconscious in your memory keeps an image of a tree you haven't seen or imagined at one time or another. So, therefore, all you have to do is make up a symbol to represent what you want. Symbols, shapes, and objects can stay with you through an orgasmically potent orgasm, while words will not. So, simply keep the symbol in mind, and when you have an orgasm, and though this is not difficult, it does require practice. It's pretty, I like that. It's pretty easy. Alright, so here is one little, ritual for a couple. So, now, let both participants be aware that a magical act, a spiritual act, is about to be performed, not just a common act of sexual intercourse. So, step one, let both participants know the purpose of this act. The divination should be done with both persons present to ensure karmic correctness of the magical act. Step two, let a suitable sigil representing the purpose of the magical act be designed. Although a sigil taken from a grimoire will do, designing an original sigil is a good idea. The system of AO Spare is quite good for this. Step 3. Let large versions of the above sigil be made and placed around the room. This must include the ceiling so that no matter which way you look, you will see the magical sigil. So, step 4. Find a place of comfort. Should be established in the center of your area. Most commonly, this is a small mattress or a pad of some kind. If there is room, place your altar at the head of the place of comfort. If there is not enough room, let the place of comfort be your altar. So, step 5. Both participants should take time now to shower and or bathe. Do this separately. Use appropriate scents, perfumes, and oils on your body after you dry yourself. So oils, they are really especially good for this, as different oils can be used on different parts of the body. So, as you come into your temple, remember that this is a holy place and perform the opening by watchtower. Step 6. Now move to the place of comfort and begin to caress and adore one another. Slowly remove each other's robes if you wish, and apply lubricating body oils to each other as you continue to caress each other freely. Explore each other totally with eye, ear, mouth, voice, hand, foot, etc. At this part of the ritual, think not of the right, rather think of yourself and your partner. Let your sexual imagination run free. Now, step 7. When both people are ready, begin actual sexual intercourse. As you continue caressing for a few moments, there should be no thrusting motions on the part of either participant. Step 8. Begin very slow thrusting motions. As you both become more involved in this part of the rite, observe the sigils around you. Do not concern yourself about their meaning. Remember, the subconscious, the unconscious, it works with symbols and imagery. So, your subconscious already knows the meaning, so just look at the symbols. Step 9. Allow your passion to dictate the speed of your movements until the intercourse is quite rigorous. If you wish, change the position of your ritual lovemaking. This is why it is necessary, ouch, to post copies of your sigil all over the room, so no matter where you look, no matter what position you are in, you must be able to see a copy of the sigil. So place as much concentration as possible on the symbols. So continue to orgasm. So if the couple has been together for a while and both know each other's sexual responses, it would be best if both could orgasm at about the same time, though the so-called mutual orgasm is not necessary. So, step 10. Now, stay coupled. An example, allow the penis to remain in the vagina for as long as possible, to a minimum of 15 minutes during the time. This time, the ritualists may caress each other, but refrain from much speaking. Step 11. Re-robe and do the closing by watchtower, and the rite is complete. Alright, so we have a few notes on the ritual to go over. Alright, notes on this ritual. So, 1. The length of time of actual intercourse is not critical, but there must be enough time allowed to build up the energy which is released with the symbolic thought at the moment of active participant's orgasm. A minimum of 10 minutes is appropriate, but over half an hour is unnecessary. Certainly women will not have a problem with this, except possibly soreness due to prolonged intercourse with insufficient vaginal lubrication. This can happen to women who are not used to extended periods of intercourse, and can easily be remedied by the use of a high-quality sexual lubricant. Now men, on the other hand, quite frequently have trouble staying erect and not having an orgasm too quickly. Masters and Johnson say that the average period for men between insertion of the penis into the vagina and orgasm is about 2.5 minutes. Wow. Since this is an average, the implication is that some men will have an orgasm within seconds of insertion. Wow. Really? Huh. Wow. Okay, so later in this lesson will be instructions on how a man can delay his orgasm. I think we went over some of this a couple of years ago. Alright, now note number 2. This ritual may be done with partners of the same sex. It may also be done heterosexually, with the penis inserted in the anus or mouth of his partner. Note, after anal intercourse, the penis must be washed thoroughly before vaginal intercourse. You don't want bacteria, you can get bacterial infections, so be safe, be clean. 3. The sexual position held by the couple at the moment of orgasm is important, so here are some tips. Missionary position. Man on top is good for situations where magic is done to positively affect the man's environment, i.e. allow him to get a raise, get a better job, etc. Woman superior, woman on top, is for situations where magic is done to positively affect the woman's environment. What book is that? The Hindu book. What is it? I can't remember. Male behind, laying like spoons with the man behind his partner. Also kneeling with the male behind his partner is for sending energy, such as healing to a friend of the man. For a friend of the woman, it can once again be the woman on top, but with her back to her partner's face. 4. This ritual also may be done as an act of oral sex, as mentioned. So, in this instance, there is not a place of comfort, but a chair called a throne. I want a throne. The person who will have the orgasm sits in the throne, while the partner kneels or sits at the foot of the throne and performs fellatio. Huh. Oh, that's funny. The king or queen on the throne needs to hold the symbol in his or her hands and look at it, while the partner performs the sexual stimulation. So, the person fellating a king should swallow all of his semen. This person performing the person performing cunnilingus on the woman should lick and swallow all of her sexual fluids. Anyways, 5. This rite may also be done solitarily. So, the male may masturbate himself. If this is done, he should catch the semen in a small vase, which has a copy of the symbol in the vase at the bottom. Okay, this is interesting. The vase should be then sealed. Alternatively, he may catch the semen on a dish or plate and consume it. Now, a partner may stimulate the man to orgasm by hand and consume the semen. Similarly, a woman may stimulate herself by hand or with the aid of a partner, or even artificial devices. After orgasm, she should douche with a small amount of pure water, all of which should be saved, mixed with wine, and consumed. And that just reminded me of Detective Douche from Lucifer. I wonder when season 5's coming. 6. Sexual experimentation and variation can be very enjoyable. But ritual is not the time to try new things. If you feel sexual position which you have not performed previously with the partner of this ritual is appropriate. It should be practiced beforehand so both of you know the most comfortable way for you to hold the position for several minutes. It's no joke. It's no laughing matter. Yes, I did laugh because of Douche, Detective Douche. On Lucifer. Alright, now 7. Although both the Kabbalah. Wow. And Tantras disagree with him at this point. Those who like Crowley may agree with him that you should choose anyone to do the right with, and they need not know the purpose of the rite. Personally, I feel that this is a type of sexual abuse. I do too. And experience has shown that it is not as successful as when both partners are aware of what is happening. So, he says, I mention it here so that you like to follow Crowley. You will know the difference in his system. So, alright, I think we will go into a little more. Wow. Of this tomorrow. So we'll go into divinatory techniques tomorrow, and we'll kind of just see what we can do. And I really like where he's going with this. I like his idea of staying safe, saying no, not doing any kind of group activity if you're not wanting to. I do like the different ways that he describes the brain control, the mind control, brainwashing, the cults. So we have a very good source of very good information, valid. So you can use that to your advantage. And if you find yourself in a situation where you're uncomfortable, get out, call the police, get out, go. Do whatever you have to do to get out. That's all I have to say. So, alright guys, well, I hope you all have a good day. It's crazy shootings. I mean, that's insane. It's sad. It's very sad, so. But, alright, I will see you all tomorrow. So, I hope this helps at least one person. So, alright guys, I love you all very much. All the way from Venus, all the way back down. I forgot to add the Venus part. I feel short. There we go. And I will see you guys tomorrow. So, I love you all, and everybody have a great day. Stay cool. It's very warm. So, alright guys, thanks for watching.